Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We are happy to have you on board on a very important topic for many of us, I believe, the seed systems related topic, because as I normally say in many fora, seed systems is critical because the seed is the vehicle that carries the improved genetics into the hands of farmers. And if that does not happen, then all the efforts of the breeders end up maybe in the breeding program. We talk of a great success of a breeding program with many varieties, but not a similar success in the farmers' fields. And I believe our objectives, our intentions of crop improvement, of variety development, is to get the improved genetics into the hands of the farmers. And this particular afternoon, morning, evening, we are looking at legume seed systems that many of us know is a challenge in terms of seed access and delivery. And in particular, we know that many farmers indicate this as one of their greatest challenges. The demand-led seed system approaches have proved to be a game changer. And this afternoon, we are happy to have Dr. Jean-Claude Rubyogo, who is a program leader for the bean program at Alliance of Bioversity-CIAT, and also the director of Pan-Africa Bean Research Alliance, PABRA. He'll be sharing with us experiences from various legumes, and then we'll follow up with a set of panelists who will also share their experiences from the various locations where they work. So without much ado, and in the interest of time, I invite JC to take it over.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Good morning or good afternoon, colleagues from where you are. This is joint work under Seed Equal, work package 2, which is co-led by Lucky, who works with ITA, and then myself, and then various other national programs across many countries, I think around 11, who work on beans and cowpea and soybean. So we're going to share with you the experience based on the Pan-African Bean Research Alliance, which have been experimented for many years, and now being scaled under Seed Equal Work Package 2, which deals with the legumes, which both of us, Lucky and myself, will lead. So the next slides. Yeah, so if you look at it, the demand-led approaches in delivering legumes can help us to achieve fast genetic progress, but it requires really a system approach to accelerate these new varieties in the hands of the farmer. Such very dynamic, the demand-led is very dynamic because it puts the trader, the commodity trader, the ones we're dealing with the grain, at the center of both breeding and seed systems, because the trader plays a role between the farmer who sells and the consumer. So they know what drives the consumer. So we really feel that trader is really a link which has been ignored, but if you're able to use it for legumes, it creates a big difference. And then demand-led breeding has been, as I said, implemented by the Pan-African Bean Research Alliance since probably mid-2000. We tested it in Ethiopia, and we expanded to many other countries, as we're able to see. But the starting point was Ethiopia, when we really revolutionized the white pea bean, working with the grain exporters and various other value chain actors. But again, in the principles, it's really leveraging on the traders' resources, financial resources. Some of these traders have really good amount of resources they can invest on their own in demonstrations, promotion. They have knowledge of the market more than anybody else, more than what can do under market intelligence. They also know what varieties they prioritize, and this really they understand the consumer. So if you're using that capacity, of the traders, you can go a long way. And then is also the demand-led seed systems focuses on business to business, because we are dealing with the traders, but at the same time also they work with the seed producers, as we're able to see from our colleagues from Nigeria, where the cowpea, the two seed traders and the grain traders, they work together, and also in Zambia as well through our colleagues, Mwinga, who is leading the bean team. So it is a business to business approach. Next slide. Yeah, so the evolution of seed systems under PABRA has been very rewarding and learning process. Early 90s, we really started at the community level because we wanted to get the varieties out. This is just a background. But then this system has several challenges. It remains very small scale. You work with the farmer groups, and then it's difficult to scale to millions of farmers. So we tested also various partnership under this system with NGOs, with the community-based organizations, farmer organization. But again, scaling it up becomes very limited. It's project-oriented. You finish one project, maybe working with an NGO, or there is another maybe focus on another issue, and then the seed is dropped. So we also tested the small packs approach across countries, but again, unless you really work with the private sector, who sees it as business, does not go far. So we really changed the gear. We really said, well, let's maybe go to the scale, work with the formal seed systems, the maize way, because that's many companies and practitioners working on maize. But this one also didn't work well, because they really, again, they don't see beans as really very appealing to them at the scale of like hybrid maize or vegetables. So it didn't really work, but in the process, we tested it with the traders in Ethiopia 2004, 5, 6, and then you could see a lot of interest by traders to join. We also beefed up by QDS, which was really, that time many people talked about QDS in Ethiopia, in Tanzania. I think Tanzania was 2002, as well as also in Uganda. But then we still see a lot of gaps as well. So by 2014 and 13, 14, we started to look, how do we really get the traders as a key to commodity to pull the seed? So that's why we started PABRA developing what we call multi-stakeholder partnership and bean corridors based on trade. So we're able to really look at the map of various beans within the countries and outside the countries, and how they move and who moves them and what incentivizes the trader. So in that case, then we start really appreciating the role of the traders to recognize some traders can not really move in the seed the way we know the seed in the formal way, but they can move the variety and distribute because they need the grain to buy from farmers. So in that process, they may move variety, but not necessarily the quality seed we expect. So we start now thinking about the demand-led breeding, the seed systems from 2015. How do we put the traders at the middle of what we do? So the next slide. This is an example of how the corridor is organized and how the demand-led comes in. It's really making sure that there is a connection between the various components of the food systems and the value chain. Understanding the consumer demand is very, very important. That's why the consumption hubs. So what type of beans do they want to consume? And then you can go to the production hubs, develop the variety based on the consumer demand, but also develop a seed systems and better agronomy, and then go through the distribution hubs, which is organized by traders to the consumer. So this system assures that there's a good understanding of the demand pool, what drives the consumer, what also incentivize the trader, because the traders will incentivize the farmer, and assure that the farmer also are incentivized through better productivity. That means the variety we release should have better production levels, better yield, maybe 30 to 40% to the existing ones. They should also be profitable in such a way that when they sell, they can fetch a better price. So access to better profitable market also drives the farmer and incentivize them. But also it assures that there is also inclusivity and diverse groups and open opportunity for national and regional and value addition as well. So that's how the corridor, it's really putting the consumer and the trader in what we do. The next slide. So how is the demand-led seed system is organized? It has a major 4 component, is really understanding the traders and off-takers and the kind of market intelligence. What type of, you characterize them, you profile them, you understand what variety are they interested in, and these varieties now, you work with the seed producer to really match the production of the grain and the production of seed, and then the demand of the grain. So these 3 components have to come together. That's the variety which is market demanded. Some farmers have to produce it. To produce it, they need seed. And you can even add another next one, which deals with the breeding. So the breeding pipeline also comes in to do that. So it's organized in such a way that you understand the trader, you match the seed production to the grain demand. You also partner with seed production to get that variety, the right variety in the hands of the farmer with the quality seed. These are seed producers. And then alignment of breeding to continually produce, release the variety which are better genetic gains, better productivity, but also keep the good quality which the consumer is looking for. The next slide. Yeah, so if you look at how the demand-led system work, in brief, that's what I said. It has 11 principles, including identification and profile of lead farm and their interests, their varieties, understanding the characteristics of the grain market and prioritize the variety. So among all this range of variety, which one is more interesting to the farmer and to the consumer? And then identify these farmers and their relationship with the trader, because this is built on a relationship between a trader and a farmer. So that at least these beans or these cowpeas can find their way to the consumer through the grain trader. And then you need to conduct a lot of assessment and understand their needs, the farmer in terms of variety, in terms of agronomy, in terms of other support mechanisms, and make sure that there's also really actual linkage between the farmer and the trader, and also the seed producers who are either seed company or QDS producers as well, and then other services which can come in. So it has 11 points, which you can see from the screen. Next slides. So if you look at, again, one of the key principles is really to align the breeding and the seed systems and the market. So these 3 components must be really aligned in such a way that the demand is also looking on demand, the grain demand is also looking on the type of seed system we have to put in place to deliver this variety, but also the breeding pipeline to continuously flow with the better varieties. So it really is based on different market type of grain we have. Like in this case, you can look at the left side, how different bean types, the yellow, the red motor, the sugar, these command different consumer preferences, different prices. The same with the cowpea. Cowpea is also, you can differentiate different, the brown, the white as well. So this really command different preferences, and the traders are increasingly specializing in the bean type they want to commercialize. So we'll have in the middle a breeding pipeline which is able to supply these varieties, and then we can use this existing system to supply this variety, and then engage with the private sector to see how they can supply these varieties. But again, our area of interventions as a seed is really to see how to inject new varieties which are preferred through private-public partnership, supplying early generation seed. So this should not be only in the hands of the public sector, but to see how you decentralize also to the private sector, because there is a market pool, and then you deploy a seed roadmap which is responsive so that the farmers can get these varieties and get the private sector can multiply, or the QDS producer can multiply and then put in the system as well. So and then you make sure there is actualization of market linkage between various actors through the master stakeholder platform. And increasingly, we have seen, maybe you'll see from one of our colleagues, they talk about how digitalization helps to bring efficiency, communication, to know who has what, who needs what. So the digitalization comes very easy when there is a product which is being demanded by the market. And you can have a monitoring and evaluation system, including DNA fingerprinting, to see how we can track if there's a change, if there is any seed adulteration in the system as well. Next slide. Yeah, so what are the examples of some impact which you can see? Let me just again, the next slides. This is an example of yellow bean in Tanzania, which was, we did a study 2018-19, and we worked with, we sampled the 300 traders who are moving 40. Yeah, so we're moving around 40,000 metric tons of yellow bean, which you can value at that time 27.6 million, exporting around 17,000 metric tons, valued at 11 million.8. So this is the yellow bean, which was various varieties which were not that old, but the traders had, as I said, they're able to move variety, not necessarily the quality seed we want, certified seed orchideas, but because they need grain, they can be able to move a variety. They work with the farmers, they contract them, and they can go and sell as a seed, which is not the best way. But since there's really a demand of that variety, that's an opportunity for the seed producers who are legally allowed to produce seed to come in and supply, rather than being just as informal. So that shows how the traders are powerful. If they can go and contract farmers to produce, which should be like a grain, and sell it as a seed, that means there is a possibility that if you really bring good seed producers, they can take advantage and move it as well. Next slide. Yeah, so this is an example where in Zambia, where we started maybe 2017 with the corridor, but picked up very slowly. But it went very fast when we started with this Seed Equal Initiative, really working with the more traders than before. And you can see the graph on the left side. You can see how the improved varieties, early generation seed was able to really, and both certified seed and early generation seed was able to increase, and particularly the composition of new varieties. If you look at the graph, so 2017, the new varieties was 0.27, 0.29 of the new variety, around 9%. But by 2023, 88% were the variety less than 10 years old. So that shows how when you work with the traders who pull the farmers to supply the grain, and then the farmers also pull the seed producers, they can really get new varieties in the system. So by 2021, we really scaled it up. Initially, we had a few traders. Now we really went to really a good number of traders. But also at the same time, increased the volume of certified seed, which was multiplied. And this has also implication. You can really see an increase of seed going up to 221%. That really shows how this system can really move the variety or pull the variety and the new varieties, the quality seed. So on the right side, that's how also again the production of beans in Zambia increased. You can see by 2022, the yield increased up to very drastically, around 11%, moving from 0.57 ton per hectare to 0.63 as a result of farmers interested, motivated because of the market and the price and good varieties. So next slide. Yeah. So if you look at it again, this is an example of new varieties which are taken, as I said, work across many countries. You can see the composition of new varieties in the seed supply across many countries, from Zambia, where almost 88% are new variety less than 10 years old, to Ethiopia, where 45% are new varieties less than 10 years old. You can really see that this system, when you work with the pool market, it really moves the varieties. On the other side, you can also see the other graph, which shows that, yes, the time between release and use. So usually we used to have, you release the variety, could even spend 15 years before even 50 tons of seed is available. But this time has narrowed down to even less than 1 year in some countries, where at least in less than 1 year, you're able to get 50 tons of seed going to the farmers. And sometimes even traders are contracting the seed producers to produce this seed in a legal way. Next slide. So if you look at it again, this example of Burundi and Zambia, where we're able to look at the grain trade and the seed production, how do they match? You can really see the red one, these are the share of the seed of new varieties versus the dark one, which is the grain share. So you can see that the higher the variety like this one in the Burundi with the high composition, 25% in the grain market, we also be able to supply a high proportion of seed. So there's really kind of matching between the grain demand, but also the seed which is supplied by the seed producers. So because there is a pull market, the same with the Zambia too. The next slides. Yeah, so if you look at it again, production of certified seed in beans across many countries, you can really see the bean going up, the pool in terms of the seed production moving from 11,000 metric tons to almost 19,000 metric tons in a couple of years as a result of that pool market, which incentivizes the farmer, and the farmers can demand the variety which are demanded by the market, and then the seed supplies comes into supply. This again is an example of demonstrations. We usually used to have fewer demonstrations, but as we work with the traders, they also invest in demonstrations because they need these varieties. So they closely work with the national programs to get more demonstrations rather than just a few done by organization, but the traders are also investing in this because they need farmers to get these varieties. You can compare 2023 and 2022. The blue one is 2022 and the red one is 2023. Between the beans, the lower side, and the cowpeas, the other side. Cowpeas is mainly in Nigeria, but the beans is across many countries, 10 countries. The next slides. So this is an example of how it has expanded on cowpea. Compare again, somebody from Nigeria, two colleagues from Nigeria who talked about it. But in 2022, which is the red one, you can see the production of various 3 varieties, how it was. 2023, it really jumped 5 times in overall. And then 2024, which is slightly grayish, you can see how the production has moved. So one variety like Sempea 11, which 2021, 22 was around 100 tons. 2022, it went up to 408. And then 2024, they have not harvested, but the production looks good. Based on area, they are projecting to have almost 990, which is almost closer to 1,000 metric tons. You can see because there is a market of these varieties, so the traders will closely work with the seed producer company. The seed producer company produce, and then they have really order, they have a market. It's strictly structured as well. So you can really see traders play a major role. The next slide. Yeah, so how do you adapt this method, this approach to many other commodities? So again, this is the Nigerian example in a diagram, which again, somebody who talked about how it brings the two off-takers and the seed producers working together, supported by the NAS and ITA. You'll be able to hear their stories later on. But you have expanded on cowpea very well. It really has moved very fast in Nigeria and soybean. It has expanded to many other areas on beans, many countries around now, more than this which are here. It has also been is also being tested on groundnut and sorghum in Tanzania as well under accelerated projects supported by BMGF, also led by CIMIT and TARI, TOSCI, and CIAT as well. And then also with the Legume Innovation Lab of Feed the Future. It has expanded in East Africa on legumes. We started in Malawi and as well. It has moved very well. And then cowpeas also in West Africa as well through Legume Innovation Lab, beans in Central America, and the lentils in Nepal. So it can really be for these legumes and other crops which are not highly commercial initially, but they can really become through this method. So what are the lessons learned? Next slides, please. So some of the emerging lessons is that demand-led seed systems catalyze the production of early generation seed, which can only be done by both public and private where possible. And then so is the linchpin that connects research, production, distribution, and ultimately benefiting farmers and assuring food security. The demand-led seed systems also improve seed availability and variety selection. It can also really make market connection between off-takers and bean seed and bean production and increase productivity. It can also bring actors together. We really see it as a possibility to create jobs, rural transformation as well, because the more you work, the really increase the volume, farmers have better incomes, transport, several services within the value chain as well. And then increasingly also, we are seeing that they're really buying in of various institutions, like now in Tanzania, they're expanding on wheat. In Rwanda, they're expanding to other commodity, as well as in Malawi, even including really the government commitment to make this happen. So here in Kenya, where I am, we've been engaging with the Carro. It has expanded it to around 20 counties. And really the directorate of Carro is really enthusiastic to move to other commodities soon. And then the farmer training, promotion, and ICM is very important, but it's not just done by us. It's also done by not only extension, but also by traders who want to invest because farmers need to increase their volume. So the last slide, which just to really appreciate every organization which has contributed to this. I want to mention the name, the donors, various other organizations, the NAS as well. So we really appreciate the CGIAR Seed Equal has been also very supportive as well. So we really appreciate your contribution and your attention as well. Thank you. So the next, Chris, it's up to you. So that's
Thank you very much, JC. Very well appreciated. Colleagues, I see some people are typing questions on the chat box. Please move the questions to the Q&A box. That will enable us to respond to them. It's a little difficult to pick questions from the chat box because there are several posts, some of which are not questions. So please pick your questions and put them on the chat box. And then JC, there are already several questions for you to start addressing. You can type responses there. If you have time towards the tail end, maybe you can verbalize them. At this time, I would like to invite a few panelists who are going to respond to some questions related to the same experiences of demand-led seed systems. I think, thank you, JC, for the good articulation of the same. We will have a bean breeder, sharing his experiences from Zambia, Zari. This is a bean breeder and also program leader. So Mwinga Mulube, maybe you can show your face and show your, we'll unmute your mic. I'll shortly ask you some questions. And then in that mix, we'll be having Samson Afolabi from Premier Seed. So we'll have a seed company linking closely to the breeding. And finally, we'll have Kola Bright, who is an aggregator and off-taker. And both Kola and Samson are from Nigeria. I don't know, I can only see JC's face still, but I wanted to start talking to maybe Mwinga. Mwinga, if you can show your face, but otherwise, if for reasons of bandwidth, you don't have to show that, but you can respond to this question that I would like you to address. Essentially, if you can hear me, that's perfect. So I would like to hear from you what you consider as key strategies that your program is implementing to align your breeding and seed production, especially with the specific needs of traders, consumers, farmers, and other stakeholders along the value chain, so that you are successful in this demand-led approach. So as we are talking about demand-led seed systems, I'm assuming as a breeder, you also would be talking about actually demand-led breeding. How do you do your breeding to target the various stakeholders? Because otherwise the seed systems will find it difficult to convince traders, consumers, and farmers, etc., to take up your varieties unless they're aligned. Over to you, Mwinga.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you for this opportunity to highlight some successes from Zambia. Yeah, so to start with, we are a very proud partner of PABRA, and we've been implementing this demand-led seed system from the previous efforts which we did under the corridors. So the first thing we did is to streamline the varieties into key demand varieties. So we worked with the grain traders. We assessed the market, and then looking at the demand, we streamlined which varieties were really highly demanded in the market. Then from there, looking at those highly demanded varieties, then we again brought together the players, which includes the grain trader, which are the key players in the demand-led approach system. So we brought together the grain traders, the seed companies, the farmer groups. Then we came up with what we called product profiles. So these profiles are focused on which varieties or market classes are demanded, and then we come up with exactly what the trader is looking for. For instance, we have a market class for small white beans, which is being pushed by GNA, Good Nature Agro. Then also sugar bean, which is pushed by Blue Oak. So for instance, Blue Oak says we need a sugar bean variety, which is large seeded, which is bright, and which doesn't darken quickly. So now as a breeding program, we start now aligning our program to produce such materials which are really demanded by the grain traders. At the same time, we now support the grain trader to have the required quantities to support their business. So we act as an information point, talking to the grain trader, talking to the seed company, talking to the grain producers equally. So in a way, now to support the grain trader to have the required quantities, we now talk to the seed company. What quantity of early generation seed do you need? Then we work backwards. We support the seed company with the quantities of early generation seed which they need. And at the same time, we support the increase of that seed so that the farmers under that grain off-taker or other trader are able to produce the quantities and the quality that are needed by the grain off-taker. So in a way, we support all these value chains aiming at supporting the grain off-taker to have the required quantities and quality of the grain. Because when a farmer wins, we all win. In a nutshell, that is what we are doing in implementing the demand-led approaches.
Thank you very much, Mwinga. And JC, a reminder, please check the Q&A box. There are several questions to start addressing. And the other panelists also, if, for example, Mwinga, if you have some responses, you can check and start responding. I'll now go to a seed company and hear from the seed company. JC has presented us data showing that there is an increase in cowpea seed demand. Samson Afolabi, could you highlight what you would consider the factors that are contributing to this cowpea seed demand, especially over the past 3 or 4 years?
All right. Thank you very much. Afolabi Samson is the name. I work for Premier Seeds Nigeria Limited, seed company in Nigeria. We have been in the business of seed production and commercialization in the last 3 decades, basically 1994. And speaking to the question, I would say there's been a dramatic increase in terms of demand for cowpea seeds in Nigeria in the last 2 years. And that is not actually far-fetched. Some of the reasons are due to the engagement of seed companies now with different value chain actors. Currently, the seed companies in Nigeria, Premier Seed Nigeria Limited specifically, we are engaging with grain traders to supply certified seeds to their network of outgrowers. Right now, we are working with Arziki Noma, and in the last 2 years, we have been able to supply them with over 4 metric tons of seeds, which they have actually used for grain production. And that is actually huge for us. That's forming about 60% of our total, certified seed production for cowpea, which is actually very huge, considering other markets that is actually in existence in Nigeria. So our engagement with the grain traders in terms of, them pre-ordering our seeds even before they are produced is actually key for us because we have been able to create a market niche for those products. Basically, we are working with them on 3 products, and these 3 products speak to the demands of the consumers as well as demands of processors that are buying grains from Arzekinoma, the grain traders. And based on the qualities of these materials, they reach out to us and we give them the varieties that can provide, solutions to some of the demands, or probably give them the kind of cowpeas that the consumers are demanding. I will tell you, example is some of them are now, consumers are demanding for cowpeas that are large grains in size. Some of them are demanding for cowpeas that they can intercrop with maize or other cereals in their farms. So we have been able to identify through research some varieties that are very adapted to intercropping, varieties that have large grain sizes, varieties that are early maturing, and varieties that do not even need much additional nutrients on the soil. So those varieties are the ones we recommended to Arzekinoma, that's to the grain traders, and those are the materials they are giving to their farmers, and farmers have seen the benefits of using some of these improved seeds. The quality of the seed is another key thing, right? Because now farmers now discover that their yields are increasing per unit area because now they are using improved seeds. They are adopting improved seeds rather than their local seeds or probably farm-safe seeds. And now they are saying that the yield returns from the improved seeds are actually much better than the local varieties or the farm-safe seeds they have been using before. Another thing, again, is our access, easy access, or would I call it increased access to early generation seeds. Now we are in collaboration with IITA, and we source our foundation seeds and as well as breeder seeds from IITA, specifically breeder seeds. And they give us high quality breeder seeds, which we use for foundation seed production. And that, of course, we also use for the foundation seed we use for certified seed production. So the quality of the certified seed we are turning out to the farmers through those grain traders is actually very good, and farmers are testifying to it. And that's one of the reasons why they are coming back to get more seeds from us. Another thing, again, is, of course, we also have an entity that produces foundation seeds from breeder seeds. And these foundation seeds are sold to other seed companies in the country. That, again, is increasing accessibility to foundation seeds in large volume, the kind of volume that IITA may not be able to produce. We are, further multiplying these breeder seeds into foundation seeds that have been assessed by other seed companies, and the seed companies now produce certified seeds from these foundation seeds, and demand for these quality seeds is actually increasing, out there. So these are some of the few reasons why we have seen, that dramatic change in terms of seed demand for cowpeas.
Thank you so much. I hear you mentioning your nexus with the farmers is actually the grain of takers. The reason why you actually exist strongly is because of takers link you up with the farmers. And so I want to ask Kola. Kola, we've not had so much mention about farmers, and would like to hear from you your mechanisms that the mechanism that your company is using to motivate farmers to use quality seed of improved varieties of cowpea. Because experience elsewhere has it that, or at least literature shows, farmers do save seed and plant their own seed, or do buy grain and plant their own grain as seed. But we seem to hear a different story here of demand-led seed systems where farmers actually planting improved varieties, but also quality seed. What is it that you're doing to motivate farmers? Because again, unless you get the right quality as an aggregator, you're probably off the market. So let's hear from you. Kola. Is Kola on board? JC, could you confirm that Kola is on board?
Yeah, let me find out. Lucky, can you?
Yeah, Kola is on board. Let me find out who was there.
I'm not getting him responding.
No.
I see several people registered as JC Rubyogo. Is probably Kola is one of them. Otherwise, Lucky, because you work closely with them, you should respond to that question if Kola is not in.
So can I say a few words for Kola?
Yes, Samson.
Since I'm working directly with
it's online.
him.
I think
He's
okay,
online.
Is he here?
Yeah, remove the mute. Can you see us?
Kola. We can't hear you, Kola.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I think
Samson,
he's here now. He's here now. Kola is here.
All right, Kola, go ahead if you're here. He's here, but he's not speaking.
All right, let me just say a few words for Kola since we are working together. So basically, before now, in the last few years, farmers have always used their farm-saved seeds. And in fact, the issue has been that farmers don't even go for improved seeds of cowpea at all, right? But with a lot of demonstrations that we did in collaboration with the grain traders, we're able to introduce some of these new varieties to the farmers. Varieties that can be intercropped, varieties that are early maturing, varieties that are large grain size, that speaks to the demand of consumers. We have been able to, over the past 2 years, convince some farmers, not necessarily all of them, but we have been able to convince a very good number of farmers now to switch from using their farm-safe seeds to using improved seeds, because they have seen from the demonstrations we have done in collaboration with Arzikinoma, that's a grain trader. We have seen they have seen the difference in terms of yield return. They have seen differences in terms of resistance to pests and diseases. They have seen differences in terms of even the cost of production. And of course, they have also seen differences in terms of growing and producing for grain traders. I know that Kola, as company that has a Kinoma, provides some incentives to farmers. Some of those incentives is they give them inputs on loan. They give them inputs at subsidized prices. They also leave these inputs with them as loan for over 4 months without interest. And at the end of the day, when they are buying the grains from the farmers, they also pay a premium, which encourages the farmer, because they don't buy at the prevailing market price as at the time they are buying back the grains. They buy at certain percentage above the prevailing market price, and the farmers get encouraged. And every farmer wants to be on that program. And because every farmer wants to be on that program for grain production, they assess improved seeds. And by assessing improved seeds, when they tested the first year, in fact, last year or this year was massive, because the farmers want more, not just because of the attributes of the seeds, not just because of the yield return, of course, again, because of the complementary assistance that they also get on those models that the grain traders do with the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent linkage between breeding through seed production, through grain production, with the farmer as a fulcrum in between that links or that cements the many actors, the many private sector actors. Indeed, nicely demand-led. Yes, Lucky, you want to add something?
Sorry, it must have joined through the other link, because now you say it's muted and there's no way for you to unmute. Can somebody unmute him? Who's coordinating? Kola Bright.
Yes, I've been unmuting him, but he's not speaking. That's the issue.
Kola Bright, maybe.
When he's unmuted, he doesn't speak.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
yes, we can hear you now, Kola. Go ahead, speak.
So sorry about that. Sorry for the inconvenience. I appreciate Mr. Dr. Samson Afolabi for standing in between for us, and it's wonderful. As he has said, I think he has said most of what I'm supposed to say. However, as the Kinoma, the company we are working with deals with farmers. We're into backward integrations. We give farmers input, and then at the end of it all, we collect back the cowpea from them with on premium prices. So these are one of the factors at which I motivate the farmers to actually work with us, because the seeds that we're getting are directly from Premier Seed, which I believe Dr. Samson was said during his own presentation. And these seeds, they are not just only seeds, but they are improved seeds, which farmers at the initial stage, you can see from our presentation that we have an increase of 15% to 20% in 2022 to 2023 and even to 2024. So, and this is as a result of the improved seed that we're able to get from the Premier Seed. That being said, also, other factors whereby the farmers are motivated are timely payments. You know, our farmers, most of farmers, they actually don't want to go to the market and then after a day or two, they are unable to be paid. But we have a digitalization system whereby we ensure that as soon as the farmers cowpea gets to our warehouses, our aggregation centers, we make sure that they get their money within the hour. So this is also a factor that motivates the farmer. Aside that, also we create a kind of services whereby we render threshing services to our farmers. We provide quality sacks. We provide empty bags. We also provide thread for the farmers so that they can use in packing their cowpea. That is even after post-harvest farming. However, even before the farming season, we ensure that extension services are being done to these farmers through IITA as the capacity building that has been organized by IITA through their demand-led system. And this has also helped the farmers to see the need whereby cover crop is needed even in their farmlands. And this also encouraged the farmers to plant more cowpea. And because of the demand out there, aside the fact that we have a World Food Program, we have Honeywell and other companies that are ready to offtake this cowpea, we will make sure that we provide farm inputs, including fertilizers, herbicides, to our farmers. So this has also helped the farmers. You know, when it comes to farming, farmers do not want their money to be kept hanging and do not want to see their farm not being cultivated on time. So we ensure that from the beginning, we have a system which is called from farm to fork. From the beginning, from the seed, from the farm preparation down to the seed implementation and down to every other thing, we ensure that we work with them one-on-one. You know, farmers like to be trusted and like people that have been trusted. So we ensure that they are not only our farmers, they are also our friends. So that has also helped us to increase the number of farmers that we are working with right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Colin. Sorry about that challenge of connection. I think for the rest of the questions, I would like you to be very brief, just like a sentence or so, or maximum 1 minute, 60 seconds. And I'm coming back to Mwinga. Mwinga, I mean, common bean is not the only legume in Zambia. You have cowpea also, maybe not a lot, not as much as Nigeria. You have groundnuts, you have soybean, you have several other legumes. How do you see the possibility of scaling the demand-led seed systems beyond beans to other crops? Very briefly.
Okay, thank you. There is a great potential in scaling the demand-led system. Already we have groundnuts where, looking at the works which has been done on beans, the groundnut program is also implementing. And as I mentioned, one of the traders, GNA, has also partnered with the groundnut program to support the delivery of the quantities and the quality which is required. Equally, under sorghum, also under finger millet, the program is working with Zambia Breweries, which is an off-taker for the sorghum. And then we have linked the off-taker to some farmers and supporting with some seed companies. So in a nutshell, there is great potential for the self-pollinated crops, and demand-led system is the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I've seen a post from Srini indicating that they're using the same approaches for vegetatively propagated crops. Perfect. I know, Samson, you want to come in, but as you come in, I'd like you to respond to this question in terms of demand now increasing as you link up with the off-takers. How do you plan to respond to these demand signals in terms of making seed available? Because demand may be high, but if seed is not available, people will pack and leave. They say we are demanding and there is no supply. and which there's several such scenarios too, where demand is higher than supply. What's your plan for increasing and availing and increasing and availing seed, making it accessible?
All right, thank you very much. We have some plans on ground to make sure that we are able to continually supply all of the seed that have been demanded by most of our customers, the grain traders. We have a very wide marketing strategy, and one of them is the demand-led seed system, which we have tried in the last 2 years and seems very, very profitable for us and actually very promising. We have been able to consider that as one of our major markets. Like I told you, over 60% of our seeds in the last 2 years was sold through that particular model. And we want to build on that. We want to scale up, not just working with just one grain trader. We want to identify some other grain traders that we can bring on board, just like we are currently collaborating with Harris Kingdom to provide seeds for farmers in Kaduna and some areas in Niger State. We want to also identify some other grain traders or grain merchants that we also develop this particular system with, so that they can also pre-order. We plan our production based on orders we are receiving even before the season commences from these grain traders. Second thing is for us to be able to strengthen access to early generation seeds with IITA and other national partners, so just to make sure that we also don't run out of early generation seeds, because if the early generation seeds are not there, there is no way we can scale up to foundation as well as to certify seeds. So that also must always be around, and that means we have to always indent even before the season commences for some of those early generation seeds from the national partners as well as IITA. We are also looking at introducing and some newer varieties that speaks more to consumer demands, and that we intend to do through different promotional activities, which involves demonstration plots, field days, and the likes. But basically, for production, we ensure continuous access to early generation seeds. Then we also scale up, sales to scale more demand, so that when we produce, we don't overproduce. We have markets for them. Thank you.
JC, before I bring call on board, there is a comment I would like you to respond to quickly. From Lawrence Kent, indicating that the discussion a little confusing in terms of who produces EGS, who produces certified seed, who produces QDS, and to whom is it sold.
Right.
That chain is a bit unclear. Could you just clarify that, JC?
Right. Yes. The early generation seed is produced. Let's say breeder seed is mainly by national program, the ones who release the variety and who owns it at the country level. And then what we have been able to do as a result of increase the demand, there is partnership between the NARS and the private sector who produce early generation seed. Sometimes also some may be in the hands of the NARS, but at least there is a private-public partnership at the early generation seed level. And then that is sold to the certified seed producers. Most of them are companies who also have, to be honest, we have seen a surge of companies engaged in bean seed, as also in Nigeria in Kaupi, which was not there before, because there is a demand of the grain, and that demand of the grain pulls more companies to invest in the seed production, which was not there before. The QDS producers, usually they can either buy certified seed, or they can also sometimes buy basic seed and then go and produce. But also another important in the pool is that the sum of traders, because they're interested in specific varieties, which was not there before, they're able to engage with the seed producers to produce and they buy, like the case of Nigeria. So the company of Samson produce seed and then is bought by the company of the grain company by Bright. So that connection was not there before. And that's why, again, Samson seed were not moving. But once this connection happened, and there's a demand of the seed by the farmer where some Bright get the grain, then there's interest to go to buy a new varieties, either by the off-taker or by the farmers themselves. Yeah.
Good, thanks. What I suggest as we get to the last comment from Kola is for the questions and for the answers. I mean, for the questions, those on posted on the question and answer, And for the comments that require response, that we collect them. Maybe Marion, you can help with collecting those questions that are not yet answered, and then we put a comprehensive response and share again with the stakeholder, with the participants of this webinar. That was the last question. Of just to be fair to Kola, if you're there, Kola, would you tell us?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm here.
Tell us how you plan to expand your grain business and how that is going to be linking with the seed business, your grain business and linkage to seed business.
So thank you so much. Thank you for the privilege and the opportunity once again to come on board. We'll continue to work with diverse value chain actors. And we're planning to continue developing markets for more and new cowpea. We already have a good relationship with Premier Seed, and which is yielding good results. However, we're planning to introduce a new variety that is market demanded. The market is out there, and we are planning to even, aside that, to hold a kind of demonstration, because even if we are bringing in, we're trying to expand. We need to, cowpea is a very sensitive legumes in Nigeria. So it's expected that for every preparation, we bring in a kind of demonstration. And when we put in a kind of demonstration, that will create awareness. When we create awareness to people, we hope that it will not only increase, but it will make the country to be large. And also, we are planning to collaborate, continuous collaborations with suppliers, with distributors, and also industries in this value chain. That is the plan for us to expand in this business of ours. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Samson, you want to add something?
No, it's not.
No. That hand has been. I've been trying to drop the hand, but it's been.
That is Lucky. Sorry, I thought it was you. Lucky, go ahead.
Thank you. Every time I click on something name will appear. I don't know why. Yeah, thank you very much, please. I just want to add to the last question by DC, that why is this different? Is it different from the old one? Yes, it is different because this approach actually leverage on the traders' resources, because we identify those that have good resources, and also they have good market knowledge of what the customers need, and they have several niches. And like Aziki Norman is just one of those that we are working with in the year. There are several others that we have done try to set up like that. Like for instance, also we have midstream days also in soybean. Like the Babagoran is there, and another company is there that they are only interested in soybean with high oil content. And that is what we are doing. And it's happy to pull large seed quantity from them. And these traders, what they do that do not make the farmer to save seed is that they offer the premium, and they are always sure that they will get the seed back when it comes for them to plant. So it's like the seed is always at the corridor, just like what others have said. And we have seen this actually moving a large quantity, large volume of seed of specific variety that is actually demanded by the market. So this is a kind of innovation that we are taking that is really going to work based on the breeders looking at the market demand. And it's also going to be linking up with demand-led breeding and also market-demanded varieties. So, and with these farmers are planting it, and they are now adopting it because, like for cowpea, it's market-driven. Once they know that there is market for it, whatever they have, they can sell it at a very reasonable price, and they are sure of getting the right variety or the same variety again. So it helps to farmers to adopt these varieties. And also, when you look at the staging from production, from the last question that you also look at, who are those producing the EGS? Who are those producing the certified seed? Where is the seed going to from the market? Just like what Jesse earlier mentioned, the research institutions in Nigeria with backstop variety provide made available this early generation seed, especially breeder seed. And the foundation seed, like some of the seed companies now in Nigeria, they also have the opportunity to produce their own foundation seed. And if they have license, even to sell to other smaller seed companies, and also produce to make use of their own foundation seed to produce their own certified seed. So it's like a chain, and that kind of public-private partnership from the research institution to to the private sector, seed company, and the private sector produce certified seed. And now this ICQ government, who is a kind of a private trader, buy more of the certified seed from the seed company. So it's not distorting at all the already established pharmacy system, because they really collaborating. And also for the seed quality trade, for the quality assurance, the National Cultural Seed Council is also there to make sure that the seed that they are producing
meet
minimum standards. Thank you.
Lucky, thank you so much. We have to close. It's top of the hour here. It's 4 p.m. Nairobi time. And thank you everyone for participating. We didn't want to go past the time. There are questions that have been posted on the chat. We'll try our best to collect them and respond, especially the last one by Connie. We'll ensure that it's responded to by the presenting team and the rest of the actors in this organizing team. Otherwise, thank you all for your attention. Seed is an emotive topic and a challenge that has been there for decades. Seems not all resolved, but we are still trying our best to innovate on ways to solve the problems, especially for seeds that don't attract a lot of private sector attention, like legumes, vegetatively propagated crops, and among others. Thank you for your attention, and see you again in the next round of similar presentation.